Alabama at Oklahoma. This game looks so attractive. In August, when we were mapping out our schedule this year, I said, watch and see, Jesse, I bet I don't even go to Ohio State, Michigan. I bet we'll be in Norman, Oklahoma. Well, we whiffed on that one. Also, we whiffed in general because the games aren't on the same week. But it was August, so you got to give me a break. This is the Saturday 7:30 ABC game. Oklahoma rested? Could it be a Super Bowl spot? They need this game or the LSU game to be bowl eligible. Just as you're keeping track of what teams still have to play for, Oklahoma, they want those extra 15 practices, man, and the bowl game, of course. Maybe they'll be a Pop-Tart Bowl participant. Whomst amongst us knows? This game, man, it lost a little of its profile, but I still think it bears close watching. Did we get the Bama identity game? Not against Mercer. Prayers for Mercer. I'm talking about the LSU game. The game where they ran the ball 48 times and threw it 18 times. The game where Jalen Milroe looked like the vintage cape-wearing version of Jalen Milroe. Did we get the Bama identity game? If we did, then Bama ought to be able to win this game running the ball despite the fact that Oklahoma's got the number 18 run defense in the country. Because that's what you do if you're a playoff caliber team. If you're an SEC championship caliber team, you take your strength and you don't even care if it matches up favorably with the other guy's strength. You impose your will anyway. That's how we used to talk about Bama. Could we talk about this team in November the way we used to talk about them? Well, that's why we're going to play the game Saturday. You can't finesse your way through these spots. Far too high caliber an athlete on Oklahoma's defense, far too nasty an environment. You cannot go in there and just hope to stay clean and we'll keep our playoff resume intact. You'll get your nose bloodied midway through the first quarter. You'll find yourself in a dogfight. You can't think like that. If you're a fan, you can, but you can't play the game like that. Oklahoma, their Achilles heel on defense is passes of 20-plus yards. So teams have had success throwing the ball on them. Jalen Milroe, when he's right, is one of the best in the country at throwing the ball deep. And yet, I'm going to go ahead and say I still think that's kind of what you have to force Bama to do. Because what I'm not going to do if I'm Oklahoma, I'm not going to sit there and watch Ford just run all over me. I'm not going to sit there and watch them run me to death. I'm not going to be LSU 2.0, in other words. So if I'm going to make Jalen Milroe beat me with his arm, hey, they're good. I'm a double-digit dog at home for a reason. They may still do it. But I'm going to make them do it. I'm going to make them, use the sword instead of death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's so much worse. I expect Ryan Williams to have a big game here because I think Oklahoma's going to force Bama to incorporate him, not that they don't already want to. Jeremy Bernard, been a little while since we called his name. Kendrick Law. I still am waiting for that game or stretch of games where we watch Bama and we say, that's how they need to be using Kendrick Law. Like, I'm not saying they're not using him. He still strikes me as a different kind of player than any other player they have. And I think if they go on to win the SEC or go deep in the playoff, Kendrick Law will have a big role in that. Oklahoma is 109th in the country in takeaways. Bama's defense leads the SEC in that category. So turnovers are randomized. Of course, we don't try and predict turnovers, but when we got one team that's really bad in that category and another team that's really good, more times than not, we figure it'll go that way. But more so than that, I just wonder about several of these teams. Are you surging at the right time? I wonder it about Ole Miss. I wonder it about Alabama. I wonder it about Oregon. Like the teams that are going to hit the gas, the teams that show they have the next gear instead of running out of gas in November, those are the ones that are going to matter at the end. That's always the way it's worked. Whether we had 2 teams or 4 teams or 12 teams, that's always the way it worked. Colin, let's take a look at what the model thinks. Right now, FanDuel is hanging Alabama minus 13.5. That's a little too big for me, community. I got Bama minus 11. But I envision this game being something like 26-10, some kind of final like that. 26-13, 27-11, why not? I don't have a lean either way. I went Bama to win the game. I will take them to cover. There's no confidence in that. Man, I would light money on fire before I bet it on this game. I have no confidence. But I'll take Bama to win, and I'll lay the number slightly. Not a lot of confidence. And the model disagrees, for the record. The model does disagree.